Good evening, everyone, and welcome for the second round of Season 19 in Division 2. My name is VNT Felix One, and I'll be taking you through tonight's action around the Silverstone circuit. Yeah, yesterday we had a very entertaining race in Division 3, and hopefully Division 2 can give us the same excitement. Of course, after last week's Austrian Grand Prix, Papdog is in the lead of the championship. Bit of a surprise as well, I would say. Papdog, not a driver I had on the cards to be leading the championship, but it's very, very early in the season. 15 rounds on the calendar with 4 sprint races as well. But this Silverstone race a normal format, qualifying to race. No rain this time around. For the foreseeable future, generally there won't be any rain. Because we have actually, with that Austrian Grand Prix last week, discovered a quite game-breaking issue, which is that some drivers in the rain have the hot lap EIS available and others don't, so they only have none and medium, and of course that's a huge disadvantage to have an EIS mode not available to you that other people do have. And you just lose a ton of time down the straights, and rain is basically unraceable right now, unfortunately. Cheers, Gary. He's pinged me and told me all dry. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a 17-car grid for this race. The only reserve in this race, I believe, is Codematic driving in the Ferrari in place of Sully, who is unavailable tonight. In general, we're not missing a whole bunch of people. It's Sully, Berman, Bazooka, Alwise, Evoic, Morbat, and Hella High who are missing this British Grand Prix. First cars out on the track already, and the first one of them is the Alpine of AC, followed by the Cadillac of Mihai, who's actually just gone past him. So Mihai will probably be the one to lead us around the first lap. Yesterday, of course, Mihai winning the Division 3 Grand Prix in dominant fashion. Mihai, well, he had about 1.5 seconds to Daystream when they crossed the line. But the gap to third place Dylan was about 20 seconds, and the two of them also qualified 1-2, Mihai and Daystream. And that with a 1 second gap to, once again, third placed Dylan. So based on yesterday's performance, I would expect Mihai and Daystream to be at the front in Division 2 as well. And what we saw yesterday was that the battery management is absolutely crucial. So it's going to be a huge advantage, I think, to those who got to drive yesterday. And we will see, that maybe they have worked on the battery deployment. They have taken some learnings from yesterday's qualifying and yesterday's race. Mihai, the first lap of the session in the Cadillac. Yesterday, I believe, the pole position was a 27.7, if I am not mistaken. So we'll see what he's capable of doing this time around on his banker. Coming out of the first section of corners with not quite a full battery, but yeah, fairly close to it. Not a whole lot of overtake used there, but now it turns actually back on. Coming into Luffield now, lifting about 75 meters, braking at 50, 27.4 first sector. And so far, so good for me. I looked fairly clean, no big mistakes. I think he might be a bit low on the battery already, though, as he's coming into Cops on about 30%. Downshift to 7th, a little bit of a lift, I would imagine. Probably not quite flat. Unless he's running quite high downforce into the S section maggots and brackets. Looking to regain a bit of energy before the long back straight. Yeah, you can tell the lift coming in there. Well, we don't have the telemetry, unfortunately. It's glitched out on the DLC right now. But you can definitely hear the engine. Yeah, it's paid off. There you go, 338 kilometers an hour. Let's go down to Stowe. Now use the last bit of battery on the way into Club and Vale, and then onto the Hamilton Straight to end the lap. Bit of a rear lock through the brake in there and a bit of over rotation. It might have cost me a few thousands. 28.586 the banker for Mihai. Next car across the line should be the Alpine of AC. And he puts in a 31.4, then Scooby-Doo 29.8, 1.6 seconds faster than his teammate. A few more cars coming into the final three corners. We're on board with Dylan right now. Kuko goes 4th fastest, 33.1, surely a big mistake there in that lap. Podshow 29.0, second position. And Valde lap by Mercedes across the line. Rapstar goes top, 28.537, half a second faster than Mihai. And there goes Dylan, 28.362, which is significantly faster than he was yesterday. So he has found a good bit of pace there. I believe yesterday he had a 28.8, and he's already half a second faster than that. Now, Sean, our three-time world champion, over the line, 28.602 banker, puts himself into 4th place. Aussie with a 40.4. Joe goes top, 28.022, not quite into the 127s yet. So we're still slower than those division 3 times, but for the moment, Joe is 3/10 clear of Dylan in 2nd place. Daystream underway, halfway around the lap already. Keep an eye on him for sure. Gabri into the final few corners. Always a driver to keep an eye out in Division 2. Always has been at the front ever since the inaugural race back in Season 10. And Gabri goes into 2nd position, 28.230. It's right to have a look at him. Let's go back to Daystream. So he's coming into the final sector. 104.137. Running out of ERS, about halfway down the straight, 328 kilometers an hour. It's a bit less deployment available for him than Mihai had earlier. As we go into the final few corners, is that going to cost him that he's maybe been too eager with the battery early on in the lap, or is this part of his management and he gained that time early on to make it worth it? 28.103. It's 2nd position for Daystream with his 1st lap of the session. Aussie coming to the end of a lap as well. Of course, the 40.4 not competitive. Must have had a spin, a mistake, maybe abandoned the lap halfway through and then recharge the battery again. Was 7 seconds up in the sector, so we are gonna see him jump into a more competitive grid spot here. It's a 29.312, which puts him 11th. Quick look at Flavors, is coming into the final few corners as well. Braking just about where the curb starts. A bit late on the brakes there, maybe goes a bit deep into Club and Whale. And now through the last corner using the last bit of overtake mode to the line, it's a 29.898, which is also slightly behind Scooby in P13. I believe at the moment we don't have anyone on a push lap. So we've got a bit of a calm moment here qualifying. Why can't I? There we go. I was trying to scroll up and it wouldn't let me. But yeah, Aussie also not on the push lap. The next car, starting one, I believe, is gonna be Phantom. No. Who's that red car in Megaton? Aha! Codematic. Quite tough to keep Audi and Ferrari apart, but it's not as bad as Haas and Cadillac, since they are both white on the track map. At least with Audi and Ferrari, the Audi is a bit more maybe orange than, you know, like, they are both red, but the Audi is closer to being orange, if you get me. But the Haas and the Cadillac are literally both just completely white, so it's near impossible to tell them apart on the track map. Here we go then, Codematic with his 1st lap of the qualifying session. 10 minutes left on the clock. So far, him and Phantom the only ones without a lap on the board. Although I would say Kuko also not really with a lap on the board. At 33.1, 2 seconds off the next car of AC. We know from Kuko that he usually is much closer to the front. So to be 5 seconds off pole position for sure is not his level, and he will be looking for a big improvement in his 2nd and 3rd runs. Codematic with a 27.7 1st sector split. Phantom Fox is also on the way now. He's burnt a lot of the battery coming into the 1st sequence of corners. So that could cost him later on. Similar story for Codematic. Is coming into Cops with about 20% left. So he will be at 0 fairly early down the hangar straight, I believe it is. Or is that the Wellington straight? I'm not too sure which one is which. And a nice line through Maggots and Beckets by Codematic, all over the track limits there, but just within the white lines, 105.0. But now he's run out of battery at only 315 kph, so he's not going to really get too much speed more. That does even hit 320, yeah. That will have cost him time all the way down that straight. And we'll see, that's shown a lap time, I reckon. It's going to keep him A few positions lower than he could be otherwise. Or higher. You know what I mean. Codematic over the line, 129.346, that's P12, and yeah, for sure, with how close he is to Aussie, that ERS running out so early definitely cost him. And now we're on board with Phantom in the Audi, coming into the last sector. There's an issue with the yellow flags there, unfortunately for him, which of course is costing him a few thousandths of a second, with the overtake button not being available and him being reduced just the yellow colored boost. Phantom Fox goes into 9th position with a 28.916. Just about inside the top 10. And now everybody else is also underway. Rapstar up by 3/10 in the first sector. But look at that, he's already on 0 EIS. He hasn't even hit 300 kph. He is 5/10 up. But will he pay for the uptime found early on in the last sector? It looks like he's gone very wide through Stowe. So that will not be helping either. As he comes into the last few corners, is he still going to be up over the line and say 128.625? No, he comes into the last sector half a second up, and he comes out the last sector down on his previous best. A Red Bull over the line, is that going to be Kuko? Yep, Kuko just turned up into 9th for the 28.8 dead. Joe is back on the way, and he's down by 46 thousandths on his previous best. Gary's on the way, Dylan on the way. Sean, 3/10 up in the first sector, but look at the EIS on him. He's used way too much, way too early. And that's going to cost him, look at that, he won't even hit 300, will he? Just about, but not what he needed whatsoever. Pupdog has invalidated Joe coming around the final corner over the line. And he's going to not improve on his previous best. Then let's have a quick look at Sean. Is that EIS? I think, yeah, it's cost him. He's actually abandoned the lap, it looks like. I might be trying again now, but with only half a battery, this lap won't be anything good either. Dylan around the final corner, 65 thousandths down in the middle sector. Has he got an improvement in the final stadium? No, he doesn't. Gabri, 3/10 up in the first. Yes, looks alright, not amazing coming to the last sector. Yeah, at just over 40% coming onto the hangar straight. 5/10 up, half a second improvement. Gabri on the way to a 127, but the EIS has run out. How much time is he going to lose in the last sector? Is he going to lose time in the last sector? Or was it the same for him earlier with the EIS improvement? Well, we will see. As he comes into Club and Vale, that looked pretty good. Back on the power. Overtaking mode as early as you're there. And over the line with 0% EIS and say 27.711, half a second found by Gabri over the course of the lap. Puts him on provisional pole position. 6 minutes left in the session. And so far, it's looking good for Gabri. Aussie up by half a second, but once again, low on the EIS through the final sector. 29.312, his previous best. This could put him into the top 10 if he gets that half a second improvement over the line. And that looked quite good. Through Club and Vale. And for Aussie, it's a 129.044. He does gain 2.5 tenths in the end, not quite the 5 tenths he had. It puts him 11th. Pocho on the way, Viral back to the pit lane. Flavors up by 7/10, but the ES completely empty at this point. And that will cost him all the way down the straight. Let's see if he can still improve nonetheless though, and maybe at least himself ahead of Scooby-Doo up into 15th. So the half a second gap to Codematic in 14th, that could be doable as well. In fact, it was 7/10 up, but we'll see as he comes over the line and say 128.885. He goes a second faster than before into the top 10. Big improvement from Flavors. Pocho very low on the battery. He's on 0% as he comes out of Maggots and Beckets. And yeah, he's not even in 7th gear, already on 0%. 2.5 tenths up, but he will be losing time all the way down the back straight. And that will cost him big time. Daystream into the final few corners, but that's a really, really bad line. And a bit of a moment next as well. I don't think there will be an improvement from Daystream here. And indeed, 38,000 down only, so he must have been up by a lot before that mistake. So Daystream, keep an eye on him. He might have a lot more pace on him than that. Pocho goes 11th, 1.5 tenths improvement, 28.893. And Aussie back to the pit lane. So now once again, no one on the push lap. 4 minutes left to go in the qualifying session. The first people already out for the last laps though. Rapstar and Kuko will be getting us going for the final runs of qualifying. And looking very good for Gabri, quite far ahead of everybody else at the moment. But I mean, we saw 27.7 and 27.8 each from Daystream and Mihai yesterday. Right now they're 28.1 and 28.5. So keep an eye on them, and surely likes of Joe, likes of Rapster, Dylan maybe. I mean, we did 28.8 from Dylan yesterday, so that 0.3 is already a big improvement. We'll see if he has even more on him. Drivers keep an eye out for. Other than that, maybe someone can surprise us. This new EIS system has really changed the order, I would say. Phantom down there in 12th, Kuku in 9th, Sean in 7th. Well, for his, he's not been the best qualifier, but so 7th is not. But I think 7th is still a bit lower than you would expect him to be. And of course, we have a lot of new faces in the division as well, coming over from the British Isles Racing League. It's run by PubDog, so if you want to have a look at that, it's one of our partner leagues. They race on Sunday evenings, same time as the Elite Division. So if you're racing no assists, please do stay with us, otherwise you are free to head over. And they will have some good races as well going on there. Rapster with a lot of EIS charge coming down towards Cops. This is looking very nice. Doesn't quite use all the track available to him at Cops, so he lifted more than he had to. Now coming into Maggots and Buckets. Bit of EIS recharge there. About 60% coming onto the Hangar Straight. And that is looking very, very good. 3 tenths up, and now he can burn all of that EIS on his run into Stowe, and then some as well into Club and Vale and out to the line. Can Rapster get himself up in the front row? Can he maybe even get himself onto pole position? It's a big gap to Gabri, 8 tenths, but he is up by a significant margin. Oh no, he's lost it! Rapster's lost it, and that's the improvement down the drain. Such a good lap until that last corner, and he just gets that wheel spin. Joe is in the grass as well. No improvement coming from him. Kuko goes into 6th position just now. Sean is underway. Viral also attained up in the first to Scooby, I think. Oh, AC is in the wall at Luffield, causing a yellow flag as well. Viral, I think, has abandoned the lap. It looks like, yep, no EIS being used here. He's very slow on the run into Maggots Bucket. Sean, 3 tenths up in the first sector. Good start to his lap. And Mihai is underway as well. I believe Scooby will be the next one across the line, so we'll have a look at him. After that, Viral, but I don't think he's pushing anymore. Scooby, 29.8 is previous best. That put him P16. As he comes over the line, he does not improve. So up next, Viral, who is improving after all. He just had no EIS on the run into Maggots and Buckets for some reason. Goes into P13. Who is next? Dylan on the outlap. Who's that blue dot? Aussie on the outlap. Then it's one of the Red Bulls, which is Sean. 2.5 tenths up after the middle sector, down to the line. For the Red Bull man, can he put himself into the top 5, top 4 even? 28.292. Now, one of the Cadillacs, I believe. That will be scoreboard with Gabri for his last lap. Half a minute left in this qualifying session. And keep an eye on that time board on the left-hand side. Phantom Fox half a second down, not looking too good for him. Flavors second up. No, he's not even from sector 1. PubDog isn't validated. And Mihai right behind him. Mihai coming into the last corner as he got improvement first. 28.586. Quite far off his time from yesterday. He's surely going to be hoping for more than that. It's a 28.019. Half a second improvement. And Mihai goes second fastest. There's the improvement that I expected. Phantom over the line doesn't improve and actually puts himself in the wall over the line as well. And that was Pocho flying past him as he goes 11th fastest. Now, quick look at Gabri. 13 thousandths up in the first sector. Joe, 4 tenths up in the middle sector and coming into the last corner. Joe might be about to steal pole position off Gabri here, right into death. He needs a 3/10 improvement. And if his last sector was as good as the previous one, that will get him over the line. And it is better than the previous one. 27.495. Can Gabri answer? He's 2 tenths down and out of EIS. Not looking too good for Gabri. What about Daystream? 25 thousandths up in the first sector. Dylan goes 5th fastest, 28.1, finds even more time. Kuko's in the grass, no improvement coming there. Flavors 2 tenths down. Codematic half a second up. Gabri to the last corner. Let's see. Has he got a 3-10 improvement in him? No, no improvement for Gabri. Daystream, 53,000 up after the middle sector, and he goes round at the exit of Stowe, and that is Daystream's qualifying done as well. Pubdoc abandoned the lap, Kuko in the gravel, I think that's it. And that means Joe is your pole sitter here in Silverstone at 27.495, followed by Gabri in second place, 27.711, Mihai up in third, 28.019, followed by Daystream, 28.103, then Dylan, 28.155, Sean in sixth position, 28.292, then Rapstar in seventh, 28.537, exactly 30,000 to Kuko in eighth, 28.567, then Pubdoc in ninth, 28.736, and Flavors finally rounds on the top 10, 28.885. Pocho in P11, 28.893, very close there between Flavors and Pocho. Phantom, also very close behind that, 28.916, and then once again, very close, 28.932 from Vira in 13th. Codematic, the first car outside the 128, 29.029. Unbelievable, for Flavors to Codematic, that's about 1.5 tenths from 10th to 14th, and then Aussie as well. Also in that 1.5 tenths gap to Flavors in 15th, 29.044. Then 8 tenths Scooby in 16th, 29.820. And he has got 1.2 seconds to his teammate AC on 17th and last with a 31.102, I believe it was. Fairly exciting qualifying there. And Joe in the best position for the race start with Gabri alongside him. And our top 3 for Division 3 also still looking strong. 3rd, 4th and 5th for Mihai, Daystream and Dylan. Good stuff on show from the drivers here in qualifying. Not sure what to expect for the race, really. Strategy-wise, from what we saw yesterday, the one-stop, well, we of course know Silverstone is always a one-stop, but the two-stop was tried and once again proven to not be the way to go, as Vira went on a two-stop and yeah, couldn't make up the time he lost despite having one of his pit stops on the VSC. So, drivers loading onto the grid, making some final adjustments to the strategy to the fuel loads. Having a look at the tires. Joe switched the hard tire, Mihai is on softs. So is Pocho and Codematic. Mihai is on the mediums now. AC also on the softs. AC also starting yesterday on the soft compound, and it worked fairly well for him actually. He was up to 4th, I believe, on the opening lap, but then he also did drop right back down to last on the opening lap still. So we'll see if he gives that another go. Codematic just now going into the hard tire. We'll see the final confirmation on the formation lap. We're just going through the race director screen to see the movement of the tires in real time. And there we go. The formation lap is underway. And we have got... there we go. Hards for Joe from pole position. The next car on hards is Codematic in 14th, and AC on the softs, the rest of the field all on the medium compound. So I'm expecting mostly one-stops, AC being the one exception. I guess he's going for another two-stop. And making use of that soft compound early to get himself into a good position. But our eyes for now are gonna be at the front. Joe starting on the hards with a disadvantage over the line against Gabri, against Mihai, against Daystream, and if he has a really bad start, also against Dylan. So Joe will look to hold on to as many places as he can, and then attack in the second half of the race when he goes onto the medium, and the race comes back in his favor. Everybody lining up on the grid, 2 Alpines parking up, and there we go. We are ready for the race start. The 5 red lights are coming on. Joe on the right hand side, Gabri on the left, and it's 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go here in Silverstone, and a good start from Joe on the hard compound, holds on to P1, down towards turn 1, that's Daystream on the inside of Mihai, but Mihai now swooping around the outside of Gabri, who was clearly lifting off, and Gabri now back up the inside to turn 3, can he get back ahead of Mihai? Yeah, side by side, Gabri now having taken it around the outside through the next corner, and there's a car way over in the runoff. That is Pocho and AC, I believe, who came together. Mihai has held on to second place for the moment. Now Daystream, side by side with Gabri, has the inside line down towards Luffield. The McLaren looking for the move early on. Gabri looking to hold on around the outside. Daystream over the curb and make contact as Daystream bounces back onto the track and into the path of Gabri. Daystream rejoined the race in 13th now. For the second day in a row, Daystream with a collision on the opening lap, dropping him out of the fight for the podium spots, and now he has it all to do. Yesterday he got to come back to P2 and not quite for the win. How much can he recover today? Good start for Mihai, good start for Joe. Phantom Fox up to 9th as well, a great start by him, I believe that is, yeah. 3 place gained. Aussie gained 5. Rapster also quietly having gained 3 positions on the opening lap. And there is Sean looking for a move on Papdog. Now getting to the slipstream of Dylan. Sean looking for the outside line into Stowe. Can he swoop around the outside like that? Now got the inside for Club and Vale. Looking to break later than the Mercedes man. They are side by side, wheel to wheel. Great race between the two of them. And now Sean has had the exit compromised. And there's Cook on his inside, the 2 teammates. Side by side down the Hamilton straight. And Cook still keeping his nose on the inside into Abbey. Sean now with the move on Papdog. Great racing here in the chasing pack. And that's a collision in behind. That's Kuko and Phantom Fox. But they both managed to catch a car. They lose a few places, but their front wing is still intact. Their car is still all in one piece. Sean and Papdog still battling, and now Sean has finally completed the move. There's another car around in the background. I think that was Kuko once again as he's dropping further places. And now Aussie looking for the run on Papdog as well. No, he's had a terrible exit. Maybe ran out of ERS. Let's actually get the ERS up there. Viral in the pit lane on the first lap, so he picked up damage at some point on that chaotic opening lap. And Joe's done a great job to hold on to that lead. 6/10 clear of Mia right now, looking in control. Scooby and Flavors. As Flavors, I think, had grass on his tire there, so he must have had a little mistake on the exit. And Scooby-Doo, well, definitely going wide there through Copster, but it's likely to be a track limit morning. As Aussie is all over the back of Papdog. Having a quick look up front. And they are all completely empty on the battery. Apart from Rapster. He has a bit of charge left and he's looking at the back of Gabri. Thinking about it. But Gabri is just about able to hold on as Rapster runs out of straight. Having once again a little look left and right. But he's being patient. It's a long race. He doesn't want to go for an all-or-nothing move on lap 2 of a 26 laps Grand Prix. But the 4 of them definitely looking rather quick. They have gapped Dylan. He's now leading the chasing train with Sean in behind him. And Mihai surely looking for the move for the lead of this Grand Prix. Joe and those hearts will not be at the best of trades. Kubi and Kuko with a ding-dong battle. So now Pocho looking to get involved around the outside through turn 4, but Scooby shuts the door in his face on the exit of the corner. Now Pocho with a very good ERS charge though. The slipstream on the Red Bull ahead as well. Drives past Scooby on a straight line. There's nothing Scooby can do in that scenario as Kuko has passed Clavers as well for P12. Scooby going with a very wide line there, setting up for a slingshot exit, or just missing the corner. You can pick whichever one you want to believe. Up ahead, Daystream, making moves around the outside of Coldmatic. Through Cops, and there's Rapstar with a move on Gabri. Into Maggots and Beckett's, an unusual spot for an OJ. Gabri maybe being caught napping. Rapstar with a bad exit though, and there comes Gabri maybe right back at him. Coming down towards Stowe. All over him, looking for the gap. On the inside, they are both almost completely out of ERS. Sean Moore making a move on Dylan behind them as well. 3-second time penalty already for AC. Papdog getting past Aussie, and that is Aussie and Daystream now side by side through Stowe. As Aussie on the inside line has the advantage and holds onto the position. Daystream dropping back a little bit. Action all throughout the field here in Silverstone. And it's definitely being proven why this is such a great track for racing with Formula 1 cars. Coldmatic on the hard tires, looking to hold on to as many places as he can. Maybe even get back at Daystream. Daystream is over a second back from Aussie right now, looking to recharge the battery a little bit and then go on the attack once more. Phantom also looking for a gap on the Ferrari as Pocho makes the move on Flavors into turn 3. Flavors going back up the inside, but all over the curb, kills his exit, and Gabri back past Rapster for 3rd position. And Rapster now has to do it all over again. Mihai is really close to Joe in the fight for the lead. But he's quite low on the ERS. Joe is a bit more left in the tank. Gabri and Rapster are also definitely causing each other problems. Making them each other burn ERS that they could be using to get close to Mihai and Joe in the fight for the race win. Mihai with quite literally an empty battery right now. He is all over the back of Joe. Yeah, Joe definitely not in any trouble. He's got a almost full battery, while Mihai has got almost zero. Now Rapstar looking for the slingshot on Gabri, and Gabri not putting up too much of a fight. He had enough EIS, I think, to defend if he really wanted to. But now this might be a case of working together and making sure they stay with Mihai and Joe rather than tripping over each other, and they can settle their own fight later on in the race. For now, just make sure they stay in the fight for the win. And Mihai's round! Mihai with a spin at the second to last corner, and there he goes back into the chasing train behind Papdog. Rejoins the race in 6th place, and up the inside into Abby. Risky, he got quite lucky that Papdog gave him the room there, because he was not really properly alongside. You couldn't have blamed Papdog for shutting the door on him, and Mihai is still keeping a front wing in there, and still lucky that he doesn't get spun around. And that has now enabled Joe to also get into a quite comfortable position. He's got a bit of a gap to Rapstar. Of course, Mihai being the connecting piece in that train has now dropped out of it. Mihai making the move and Papdog around the outside. Papdog still there though. That is Dylan having a little look as well from behind. Can he sneak alongside somewhere? Oh, he's got a lot of EIS advantage over Papdog. If he wants to, he could definitely get involved, but he's looking patient. Gary also getting back past Rapstar, a real ding-dong battle for, well, it was P3, now it's P2 with Mihai having had that spin. He's now running in 5th position behind Sean. And Rapstar looking likely to re-overtake Gabi. Joe now needs to try and do his best to run away at this Grand Prix. And him starting on the hard tire is working out really nicely. He already has a gap to the rest of the field, and he will have the advantage later on when he goes on to the medium. Well, all of these guys on the hards. Papdog running out of EIS there. Oh, but a big contact! Daystream and Papdog coming through slow, and they are both round. Not what they needed whatsoever. Their battle ending in tears for them both. Thankfully, both cars undamaged, it looks like. But once again, a few spots dropped for them both, as Daystream also gets a track limit penalty now for multiple warnings. Adding further insult to injuries, already out the points, and that penalty puts him even more on the back foot. Mihai on the inside of Sean Mull, but he's not really properly in that gap. He's just being annoying for Sean, basically. He's, yeah, keeping him off the racing line, making his life hard, and there he goes, Mihai now with the overtake button enabled. And I believe Aussie has just gone around. He's lost a lot of places all in one go, and Daystream will look to follow through as well. But he's not quite in there. Papdog has been passed by Phantom. There really is too much action to keep track of. Papdog now looking for the switchback to get back ahead of Phantom into P7. Have a quick look at Dylan as he's also really close to Sean. But not quite looking for the move here. Codematic though looking for the move on Papdog. He was, I think, alongside the curves, but he, I think he's backed out, yeah. Once again getting really close in the back. His back is actually driving at the back of Papdog ever so slightly. And now setting up for a good exit onto the long straight. Is he close enough? Has he got the ES advantage he needs? Up ahead, that's Sean, Mihai and Dylan battling as Mihai holds onto both positions. Dylan goes up the inside of Sean. Sean, well, drives into the back of him in the middle of the corner. Hopefully not damage for Sean, but Dylan up into P5. They are all being caught from behind. Phantom now in the 1 second range to Sean. And Gabri really close to Rapstar. They are both losing time to Joe. Joe's doing a great job in this race right now. 2.5 seconds clear of second place. Looking in control. The hards probably coming into their own at this stage, at least being equal to the mediums. I wouldn't say they're faster yet. We're definitely getting, of course, with every lap further and further in favor of the hards. But Rapstar and Gabri will get the undercut on him, of course. They get to pit earlier for their hard tire, then Joe will have to pit for his medium to make the end of the race. So that could be their way back into the fight, and once they're in that 1 second range, it's a little easier to stay in it than to catch back up to it. It's Gabri and Rapstar's 4 places heading into the S section. Gabri back up into P2. Phantom looking to get into that 1 second range of Sean. He's just outside it, but he's also completely out of battery. And Papdog, well, he will see all the lift and coasting Phantom is doing through the S section, and he will know that there might be an opportunity at a move for P7 here as Phantom Still looking to recharge, and Pupdog flies past him on the straight. In behind, that's Daystream, breaking his late as he dares on the outside of Stowe. And Codematic takes advantage, switchbacks him. Now Codematic also on the inside of Phantom into the last corner. The Audi giving him space on the inside. Now has the inside for himself. And holds onto the place. Good defense by Phantom. And this battle is very, very exciting in the midfield. Kuko and Pocho chasing in behind, trying to get involved in the fight for the points. And these guys are all super close to each other right now, which is great to see. Joe increasing his lead out front. Mihai looking to get back towards Rapster and Garber. He needs him to fight a bit more. And there's a yellow flag for Dylan, who seems to have gone around. And now in the middle of the track, moving really slowly. And there goes Daystream, passing both Dylan and Codematic at once. And now Codematic also getting tapped by Dylan and almost going around. Good catch by Codematic though to keep the car under control. As Ossie now looks to get past Dylan and Codematic as well. No, not quite. Great pass by Daystream there. A bit reminiscent of the Spa 2000 pass by Mika Häkkinen, quite famous one, where he went either side of the lapped car. And that's Pupdog going around at the exit of Cops. People really struggling with their rear tires now, so the tire really kicking in. So saying Daystream recreating that iconic Häkkinen-Schumacher move. In that case against Codematic and with a car that just spun around rather than a lapped car, but you know, it's still close enough. And Daystream still on the move, on the inside of Phantom now. Heading into Stowe, gets the car stopped, and he's up into P6. Phantom with a heavy bit of lift and close there. Getting some ERS back in the system. Codematic has gotten really close to that though. And Phantom has to keep an eye behind now. Ferrari surely looking for a move into the next heavy braking zone, into turn 3. And there he goes, up the inside goes Codematic. They bang side pods, and Phantom is still there on the inside. Codematic has to leave him the room. And on the exit, oh, they bang wheels again. What a battle, but Codematic finally swoops around the outside. Now, has he got the ERS to hold onto position? Yeah, Phantom, well, he had more ERS, but he didn't want to use it. As Scooby-Doo's in the pit lane for his first stop quite early on. Kuko made the move on Dylan, he is now caught up to this pack. Pocho as well on the back of Dylan, with a full battery. So even more people have joined this battle. Daystream has gapped Codematic within a single lap. He's doing a great job. Dylan and Kuko, oh! Great racing there through Cops, and Dylan getting done though. Kuko clean around his outside, as they were, yeah, absolutely side by side. Not a meter of not a millimeter of space between them, it looked like. But clean. Phantom Fox getting past Codematic for P7. Just look at that. A train from P7 all the way to P13. And they are all looking really, really close on pace. Of course, Codematic has a advantage of all of these guys being on the hard tire. You would think at this point the tire will be faster. Yellow flag in Sector 3 for Flavors. Looks at a spin at the final corner. Sean is still looking to chase after Mihai for P4, 1.8 seconds a gap. And in the same vein, Daystream chasing after Sean. Daystream, of course, with that 3-second time penalty hanging over his head. And Joe doing a great job right now. The gap up to 4 seconds. It's increasing lap by lap. The hard's definitely faster at this point. He's making great use of that. Garbri has just gotten Rapstar outside the 1 second range. Let's see if he can hold on to that. Pocho has completed the move on Dylan. But Dylan looking for the switchback. A lot of ERS on the Williams. The same goes for Pocho. I think Pocho has got that, at least for the moment, secured. With all the swapping back and forth. This train is absolutely mental. Really, any of these guys from 7th to 13th could finish 7th or 13th without anything major happening, just through the movement within this train being so extreme. Pupdog now practically pushing Ossie down the straight and goes up the inside into Stowe, as also Codematic and Phantom battle up ahead. Pupdog and Ossie really close together through Stowe, and Pupdog completes the move, and there is the pit stop from Phantom on lap 11. quite early. He's going for an undercut here. Looking to make it out of all this fighting and, yeah, into some clean air. Start chasing after Daystream, Sean, Mihai up ahead. The podium looks fairly locked in. I mean, Gabri and Rapstar, I think the gap to Mihai staying very consistently the same. But Mihai needs to be gaining, of course, to get into that fight. So, as it stands, great chance of a podium for Rapstar, Gabri, and especially Joe. I mean, he's 5 seconds clear. He is very much on for the race win. Phantom coming out the pit lane in P14 on fresh hearts. Keep an eye on that gap to Flavors, and he will be gaining rapidly as he tries to make this undercut work for himself and get up towards the battle for P5 between Sean and Daystream. Viral retiring in the pit lane. That's his race, his evening done. And there goes Kuko up the inside of Aussie into Corpse. A brave move, but a clean move. No contact made, and he was completely clear of him actually at the exit of the corner. Not sure if Aussie backed out of that, but Kuko on the move. And now already really close to the back of Papdog, but he goes around! Too eager on the overtake button. And immediately the car does not like that. One bit. Goes off into the grass, rejoins in P13. Papdog now goes around after contact with Codematic. Gabri, Rapstar, Mihai, all into the pit lane. Quite a few cars into the pit lane now. Oh, Dylan very late in the brakes, but he got it stopped just in time. Of course, Joe continuing on, so Daystream, but Gabri, Rapstar, Mihai, Sean, Aussie, Dylan, Papdog and Kuko all in on this lap. Pocho still staying out. So just Pocho and Daystream left on the mediums. Joe and Codematic, of course, starting on hards. They're going longer. Gabri comes out quite far ahead of Rapstar. He had a much better pit stop phase than him. Let's have a quick look at Phantom. How much has his undercut worked for him? Very well, look at that. He is quite close to Sean. And the battle he was in earlier is about 3 seconds behind him. So we now have a battle between Phantom and Sean, forming for 8th place. If Phantom can gain that little bit of time, but of course Sean coming out the pit lane with a full set of battery, of course immediately opens that gap back up. And now Gabri, 3 seconds clear of Rapstar, looking very, very good for P2. I mean, the gap from Rapstar to me stayed fairly the same, and Gabri gained 3 seconds on Rapstar in that pit stop phase, so he's done something really well. I'm not sure what. I mean, you can't gain 3 seconds in the pit entry alone, surely, just by braking later, you would think, but who knows. Pocho out in the pit lane, and so is Daystream. And there's a spinner, which is AC. So Daystream and Pocho going longer than anybody else on their mediums. Give them the advantage later on, but of course the undercut will work against them now. Let's see how much they've dropped back on that one lap. Spiral, of course, leave possession as well, was to be expected. So Daystream coming out of the pit lane, behind Phantom, but in front of Aussie. And there's Pocho on the fresh hards, coming out between Papdog and Kuko. So I think Daystream has lost some spots there. Pocho, I think, is in the same spot he was earlier, but further back from the train up ahead. The train in general has broken up a little bit now. They are all a bit further apart after this pit stop phase. We'll see if they get back together and if this battle continues, or if we're gonna see more, more separation and more sort of old school 1v1 battles rather than that one big train. A yellow flag in the pit entry for AC, who must have crashed in the pit entry. Well, he's retired from the race now. That is interesting. And there's Joe, 21 seconds ahead of Codematic in the lead right now. But that's not the gap to look at. The gap to look at is the one to Gabri, which is about 28 seconds. Can Gabri get that undercut and get himself into the fight for the race win? Joe will have a huge advantage either way. Coming out on medium tires. Even if Gabri comes on ahead, Joe will surely look to re-overtake him. Rapstar's getting closer and closer to Gabri, sorry. He's driving away from Mihai. So the battle for second, not over yet either. Rapstar with a fast lap the Grand Prix. 1:30.530. Let's have a quick look at what Joe's lapping right now. 31.8. 1.5 seconds gained that lap from Rapstar to Joe, and for Gabri, maybe not quite as much as that, but for sure it'll be similar. And Gabri has a lot more EAS, than Rapstar, so that was a push lap from Rapstar, I would imagine, and Gabri is more so just still doing the normal management. Daystream is on the back of Phantom. He's already caught back up to him. And we have a battle on track for 7th. That 3-second time penalty for Daystream will definitely be annoying for him. It's making his job a whole lot harder, as he has to complete the move and also drive away by 3 seconds to actually get the position come the end of the race. Gabri getting closer and closer to Codematic. He's going to hope that Ferrari comes in before they have to start battling. And there goes Daystream on the inside of Cubs, flying past the Audi. Phantom not putting up any amount of fight, really. And Dylan Rossi also really close as they battle for 9th. Dylan with a bit more EAS charge. It's teleporting left, right and center. It's a bit weird. Hopefully that's on... No, not on my end, I'm the host. Well, Codematic in the pit lane. Coco with a 3-second time penalty, and Dylan flies past Aussie. And now Codematic, of course, was in that huge fight for 7th, which is broken up quite a bit now. And the question is, how far behind those guys does he come out? Of course, he has been undercut, he will be behind. But isn't an amount of time he can make up. Joe is going very long on those hard tires. Lap 15, you'd think he's going to finally come in this lap. The gap to Gabri and Rapstar is coming down quickly, and Codematic comes out behind his teammate Pocho, but ahead of Kuko still, in 12th position. So he will go after Pocho, and then it's about 4 seconds into the points-paying positions. Codematic in a good spot here, I would say, to score some points in this Grand Prix. Phantom doing what he can to stay with Daystream. A good EAS charge on him. Daystream looking to chase out the Sean, and Phantom maybe using that for his advantage. Just sticking with Daystream, who is looking very quick, but that 3-second time penalty of course means all Phantom has to do is stay with him. That's a lot easier than staying ahead of him. So if Daystream can get into range of Sean, that would be very good for both him and Phantom. As Codematic already made the move on his teammate Pocho. Already up into 11th, 4.5 seconds now to this train for P8, Dylan, Aussie and Pupdog. Pocho and Codematic will be hoping that they battle quite a lot, so they can get the fight for the points. There goes Pupdog, driving past Aussie on the straight line, not what they need. Daystream almost in range to Sean there. Joe is still going. 16 laps completed in this Grand Prix, and he's still on that hard from the start of the Grand Prix. The gap to Gabri at this point, 25 seconds. He will definitely come out behind them, but he will have a big advantage on the tire. So Joe is playing the long game. And there's Daystream now within a second of Sean. So if it stays like this, next time around they get to the final corner where the all-take mode detection point is. He will get that all-take mode, he will get the EAS harvesting and deployment increase, which is absolutely crucial. If he even stays behind that long, because he is looking very racy. Nope, he's not going to wait for that moment. There he goes, to the outside of Sean, down towards Cobbs. Sean keeping a nose in there, they're side by side in the corner, but Daystream swoops around the outside. Now Joe is finally in the pit lane at the end of lap 16. On to a set of the mediums to the end of the Grand Prix. Now, how far behind Gabri does he come on? He will surely be behind him. Then can he get back past him and gap him? Sean is back ahead of Daystream. So they go through Stowe. And this is exactly what Phantom needs. If he wants that P5, he needs Daystream and Sean to get in each other's way. And there's Joe coming out the pit lane, literally right behind Gabri. It's a yellow flag in the middle sector for Flavors, who has gone around coming out of the S section. And Joe with a full battery available to him. Now looking to battle a Haas with 5 lap older tires than he has got, and he has got the compound advantage as well, mediums against hards. Joe should have a huge pace advantage over Gabri right now, and he will get the overtake mode next lap, if he even has to wait for that, because he has already got the full battery from the pit stop just now. He's got a tire advantage. You would think the move is coming very soon. And then Joe will look to run away with the Grand Prix once more, get that gap that he lost in the pit stop phase with being undercut, back up. Now he can reap the rewards for going long on the first stint and use this fresh tire to its absolute best. Gabri is too far away on the straight, no chance at a move for Joe. So he will get that overtake mode next lap, and then surely that will be curtains for Gabri. Question for Gabri is, does he go all out for this race win? Does he look to defend with all he can against Joe? Or is he going to keep that eye on Rapstar and make sure he doesn't get into a position where he might lose second as well? There goes Joe up the inside into Abbey, as Gabri looks to stay with him, but he gets pushed off the track. Has to go off the throttle to avoid a penalty, and rejoins far behind. And almost spins as well as he goes over the grass on the re-entry. And there's Rapstar now, right with Gabri, as Joe's 2.5 seconds clear, and Gabri will not be happy with that. Question is, was he far enough alongside? Did Joe push him off? Tough to see in a moment, but for sure Gabri will be, I imagine, reporting that. And then it'll be down to the stewards, which is me, to decide whether that will be a penalty or not. For now I wouldn't give any judgment really. I've seen it very quickly, and from a, I'd say a bad angle as well. The onboards will tell more of a story. Sean flies past Daystream on the run to Copse, and he lets it happen. He had the battery to defend that for sure, but he's looking to maximize lap time rather than maximize track position right now. Make sure he gets that 3-second gap to the cars behind, which at the moment Daystream probably looking at P7, and maybe if they didn't get into that 3-second gap of him, could drop even further. That's why Daystream is looking to get to the end as quickly as possible, rather than as far up the leaderboard as possible, if that makes sense. Fast lap the Grand Prix from Joe on those fresh mediums, 1:30.077. Pocho and Coldmatic battling for 11th. Maybe the tires already swinging back in favor of the hards. Quite early though, only 3 lap from mediums, but yeah, Coldmatic. I thought he would have a great run into the points, but he's not really made much progress so far. Joe's done a whole lot better. He's already 4 seconds ahead of Gabri, of course, with that moment Gabri had at turn 1 where he went off the track and had to slow down significantly to avoid the track limit penalty. And there's Papdog on the inside of Dylan, and a 3-second time penalty to Kuko just now. Dylan looking for the switchback on Papdog, and that's a really good move as he gets back up into 8th. Daystream and Sean swapping once more. Looks like they are happy to work together. We're getting into the closing stage of the race. And it looks like Joe's got the win wrapped up. Huge tire advantage, huge gap. It's only increasing more and more. Battle for second between Gabri and Rapstar is very much on. Same tires for them too. Mihai on the zone in P4, 3 seconds ahead, 7 behind. I think that's where he will finish. Then Daystream, Sean, Phantom still locked in a great battle. The same goes for Dylan, Papdog and Aussie. So all throughout the points paying positions, apart from the fight for P1 and P4, there is a lot going on. Fast lap on the, of the race, twice in a row from Joe there as he beats his lap from 1 lap ago. Goes into the 129s. So that wasn't even a push lap from him, that was just his consistent pace that he can set every lap really. 3-second time penalty now applied to Pocho, and that will really hurt his chances of maybe picking up a point or 2 from this race if there's anything happening up in front. 4 seconds back with the 3-second time penalty, essentially 7 seconds back from Aussie in P10. So he would need a bit of a miracle, especially considering that he has a car right underneath his rear wing as well with his teammate Coldmatic. So Pocho needs to essentially gain 2 spots in these last few laps of the race. Gap from Joe to Garby at this point almost up to 6 seconds. So that potential Struding inquiry also unlikely to change the result of this Grand Prix. I mean, it wasn't a big incident. I think on a whim I would say it's definitely not more than 5. And 5 already is a big stretch. I think it's not that deep, I don't think. If it even is a penalty, I would have to have a proper look at it, you know. But for sure, it's never a 10-second. So the 5-second lead he has, I think, secures him that win, regardless of any stewarding outcome. Unless it's something else that happened in this race with Joe. Of course, that can always be... I don't have my eyes everywhere, you know, so... But I'm fairly confident that Joe's got this win wrapped up, regardless of any stewarding outcomes as well. Phantom has dropped back out a second from Sean Mull. That is great news for Daystream. He can now try and get that 3-second lead over him. Dylan is round! At the final corner, the Williams man. And there goes the Ferraris into his 1-second range. The battle for P10 is on between Dylan and Codematic, and now Pocho will be kicking himself for that 3-second time penalty. This is the chance he needed to get himself a point out of this race. But yeah, that's really cost him, that penalty. Now he needs to actually gap Dylan and Codematic by 3 seconds to get that final points paying position. And yeah, Phantom is firmly out the fight between Daystream and Sean. They have been doing a great job. And Rapstar gets a 3-second time penalty now. And that opens up Mihai's opportunity at a podium in this Grand Prix. And secures Garby second place. So now Garby just has to bring it home and Mihai has to keep pushing and stay within that range of Rapstar ahead and get himself another podium. 2 weeks in a row. And of course he already had a podium in, well, both races in Division 3. So that would be 4 podiums in 4 races for him across both Division 3 and 2. Quite a start to his season. If he can get within that, or stay within that 3-second range rather, of Rapstar. Right now he's at 2.8, he's just about inside it. And maybe Rapstar will now be looking to work together with Garby to keep that gap open up as much as possible, rather than looking to battle him for P2. And there goes Sean flying up the inside of Daystream into Abbey. The gap to Phantom up to 1.8. So a good chance that Daystream can get himself a P6 out of this Grand Prix. As they open that gap up more and more, but Sean looking, yeah, very comfortable in P5. As long as he doesn't get a tractional penalty himself. The battle against Daystream likely to go in his favor. Daystream will surely not get the 3 seconds on him from here. But I thought the same against Phantom. Then once you have that first second is by far the hardest, especially on this game, even more so than previous games. The DRS trains have been replaced by the boost mode trains, or overtake mode trains rather, sorry. When the ERS goes blue, that's called overtake, the yellow one is boost. I keep confusing it, I keep calling this yellow ERS overtake and the blue one boost. Because of course last game, like the overtake was already there, so boost is the new thing. But boost is the old overtake, and overtake is the new thing now. I don't know if what I'm trying to say makes any sense to you guys, but in my head, what I just explained was all correct. Flavor's back in the pit lane, and now a lap down. Oh, not quite actually. That was Scooby-Doo going past him, not Joe, but Joe is right behind him. Flavor's on a sort of special soft as Rapstar goes past Garby through Abbey. Flavor's looking to get a fast lap point out of this race at least. And Phantom now almost 3 seconds back from Daystream, yeah. Once he had that 1 second range broken, Phantom's pace dropped off a cliff against these guys, and you can see how important that overtake mode being available is. You recharge so much more battery. And of course then you can also deploy a lot more battery. And that is where the time gain is. And so Mihai is doing a great job to be all on his own and matching the pace, or even being faster than Garby and Rapstar up ahead. As Daystream goes back up the inside of Sean, but Sean with the switchback. They are battling it a little bit now, but they have to lead that Daystream needs to Phantom. Daystream looking more happy to maybe battle Sean a little bit. They are side by side all the way down towards Corpse. Sean on the outside, Daystream on the inside. Does either of them back out? Not really. Sean though with the advantage, slightly ahead. And now pulling ahead into Megas and Beckett as Daystream, I think, turned the battery off. That would be one too much for him, it looks like. And he looks to recharge and re-attack him next lap. Wraps down the outside of Gabri through Stowe. Gabri holds on to the position. There's a yellow flag up ahead. That's Flavors who has gone around. Daystream going back past Sean Moore into Stowe. And Mihai is getting closer and closer here. With 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix, Mihai 2 seconds away from Rapsa. Looking very good for Mihai podium in this Grand Prix. That 3-second time penalty for Rapsa, he'll be kicking himself. Same as Pocho, same as Kluko as well, he's into the pit lane. Now on lap 24, probably also going for a fast lap attempt, I would imagine. His best chance of at least 1 point coming out of this Grand Prix. Needs to beat that 29.9 from Joe. I don't think Flavors, well no, Flavors is only now on his hot lap. So we'll see if he can beat that, and then if Kluko can beat Flavors. Quick eye on the fuel gauges. Rapstar's in the yellow. How far? He's just below 0, he's fine. Sean is in the yellow. I think he's also only just below 0, so he should also be fine. Yeah, he's just, yeah, the yellow is turning off and on for Sean. And I think that's it. Stillen is looking for a move on the outside of Pocho, who is overtaking him recently. Rapstar, whoa! Pocho with a little wobble on the exit. And then getting in back of him. Rapstar also getting past Gabri. And now low on the battery, Gabri looking to come back at him. Down towards Stowe. 2 laps left to go after this one. Gabri back in the second place, Joe almost 10 seconds away now. And Rapstar goes flying back up the inside into Club and Vale, into P2. And that's a spinning V-Cup up ahead. Lap car Flavors. So his fast lap run not working out well for him. Daystream has got the 3 seconds Phantom firmly secured, and he's looking at a P6. And Mihai with a completely empty battery, but he's here now, he's in the fight. Gabri meanwhile with a 100% charge, looking very, very comfortable. So even though Mihai is here, it's a big advantage still in favor of Gabri, as Mihai will only get the overtake button next lap, so he won't even get the chance to really recharge properly this lap, as he also still needs to get even closer to really be within the chance of an overtake. As both Rapstar and Gabri are recharging their battery for the last lap. Gabri looking for the no, he's not looking for the move, he goes off throttle. Yep, he doesn't want to go ahead. He wants to have that overtake button available to him, but it means Mihai is getting closer and closer. As Gabri is playing games. The battle for P2 between Mihai and Gabri on the last lap is on. Mihai has been about 4 seconds away for most of the Grand Prix, but in these last couple of laps, as Rapstar and Gabri were holding each other up and Rapstar had that 3-second time penalty, Mihai has been getting closer and closer, and now the fight is on. Gabri not going for the move, he's just staying close. He wants that overtake button into the last lap. And is Mihai gonna find a gap somewhere? Is he gonna be close enough anyway? He's not got a lot of battery. He probably has 1 chance at a move. It needs to be done at the perfect moment. As Rapstar with a terrible exit at the last corner, and there comes Gabri. Pocho getting past Dylan for 10th. We have to keep an eye on this battle for the podium spots. Mihai's battery is empty. Codematic now with a 3-second time penalty. And that once again increases Dylan's chance to get that final points paying position. Codematic was already way gone from Pocho and Dylan, sorry. Oh, and Mihai with a little wobble on the exit. And that has cost him. That could have been the run that he needed. Maybe Gabri had a lot of battery regardless, or maybe not. But with that wobble it wasn't possible. And now he's once again about 7 tenths away and not a whole lot of battery from here to the end of the lap and the end of the race. And there goes Gabri, Kuko the fast lap of the Grand Prix, Gabri to the outside, down towards Corps, and Rapstar has to let him go. So Gabri just has way more straight line speed with that battery available to him. And the battle for second seems over. Sean once again flying past Daystream. It doesn't really matter with Daystream's penalty. So as we head into the final few corners, Joe with his first win in F1 Total. A great drive. 11 seconds the gap to Gabri at the end. From pole to win. He's been in control the whole race, really. The only thing costing him the Grand Slam was, yeah, the undercut that Gabri made. And Kuko's in the fastest lap in the end with a pit stop. But there he goes, spinning across the line to celebrate in style. Joe wins at home in Britain. Gabriel is going to bring the car home in second place, followed by Rapstar on track, but it'll be Mihai with another podium. His fourth podium in this season of F1 Total across all divisions. Rapstar fourth, Daystream fifth on track, but drops behind Sean as Sean finishes fifth, then Daystream sixth. Phantom bringing the car home in P7, a solid comeback drive from him as well after a bad qualifying. Papdog in 8th, followed by Ossi, and there's Pocho spinning through the last corner, and he finishes in 11th as Dylan gets the final points taking position. There's Cosmatic coming across the line for P12. And Kuko celebrating the fast lap like he's won a race. Scooby-Doo and Flavors lap down in 14 and 15. Flavors actually parked up in the barrier. And Kuko gets himself that 1 point for the fast lap of the Grand Prix. As he is weaving left to right through this last sector like he has won a World Championship. Oh, that doesn't sound nice. Please shift up. Oh, my ears. Thank you. And over the line, finally, goes Kuko. And that has been the British Grand Prix in Division 2. A great race. The fight for the win, not particularly exciting, I must say. Joe had that one wrapped up very early on. But the midfield, absolute chaos. And a thoroughly enjoyable race that was. It's a great start to the season for the Mercedes boys. Papdog wins in Austria, Joe wins here in Britain. Exactly what they needed. Garby on the podium for the first time this season in second place, looking to defend his championship crown. And yeah, Mihai, what a start to the season Mihai is having. Across both Division 3 and 2. 2 podiums in 2 races in 2 divisions. And we have your full race results once more. Joe, Gabri, Mihai, Rapstar, Sean, Daystream, Phantom, Papdog, Ossi and Dylan your point scorers. Then Pocho, Codematic, Kuko the fast lap of the Grand Prix getting a bonus point. Scooby, Flavors, NAC, and finally Viral DNFing from the race. Yeah, early on. Yeah, thank you very much for tuning into the race, guys. I had a great bit of fun. But I must admit, I am absolutely dying. It is currently 30 degrees in my room. So I will be turning off the stream, turning on the fan, and, I don't know, suffering. Right, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a good night. And, yeah, see you on Saturday for the Division 1 British Grand Prix. And, of course, next week we'll be racing in Japan, I believe. So I'll be back in the commentary box for... I don't know, I might miss it. We'll see. But for sure, I'd imagine there will be a stream for Division 3, definitely. I'm sure we'll find, we'll figure something out. Maybe you will hear from me next week, and if not, you will hear from me in 2 weeks' time for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for sure. Goodbye, everyone.